let's go deeper right now. We're going to bring in Peter Doran. He's the adjunct senior fellow at the Nonpartisan Foundation for Defense of Democracies. And good morning to you. First of all, I want to get to why people at home right now should really care about this. But first, let's talk about the deal. It was similar to the initial deal that was on the table just a few months ago. Many thought that deal was dead. In fact, after this, you're looking right here at Zelensky's disastrous meeting in the Oval Office with President Trump. We all remember that. It blew up after a very public disagreement between Zelensky, President Trump, and Vice President J.D. Vance. Now, your first impressions on this deal that was just signed, and how significant is the timing of this, especially when we look at the U.S. Ukrainian war that's going on?
Thanks, Fanchin. It is a big, beautiful deal, as President Trump would say. And I think we can all agree it's a major win for his presidency. Look, it shows that he is committed to a long-term U.S.-Ukrainian team-up on both economic and the economic and the security front. It throws a lot of cold water on Vladimir Putin's suspicions. Perhaps the Americans would pull up stakes and leave. And more importantly, it slams the door on future Chinese investment in Ukraine once the shooting stops. This is a big win for President Trump, and I think he's right to be proud of it.
You know, Peter, this deal comes just days after, and Joe mentioned it, that impromptu sit-down meeting. We're looking at video of it right now between President Trump and President Zelensky at the Vatican while the two were attending the funeral for Pope Francis. Now, this deal has wide-ranging economic implications for all of us, Democrats and Republicans combined. We're hearing so much political rhetoric around this, but for the people at home this morning, they just want to know, what does this mean for my money? What does it mean for our economy collectively and all the industries that will be strategically affected by this? Why is this deal a big deal for the average American person?
Well, if you've got a cell phone, if you've got a computer, if you've got a screen, then you are benefiting from rare earths minerals. That's a resource that China has locked down around the world. Ukraine is one of those unexplored, underdeveloped frontiers for these resources. So it's vital to our national strategic interests. President Trump has put down a major marker on this. But longer term, it also puts the United States and Ukraine in business together. Fanchin, countries that are in business together tend to stick together when the chips are down. And that's what President Trump is signaling with this agreement.
Yeah, and it also could be a deterrent. If we have interest in a certain area, some other enemies may not want to attack those areas because they would be, in essence, attacking the United States. Dr. Phil also exposed how dependent we are on our pharmaceuticals, our medicines, and so many other raw materials that China has a lock on when it comes to our access. This could also open up more options for the United States. What message does this send, particularly to Russia, and what does it mean for the war and those talks now moving forward?
Well, here's the big twist. We are operating off of a lot of information that goes back decades as to where the most valuable resources in Ukraine are. A lot of those resources are located in the east of Ukraine. That's territory which Vladimir Putin's troops currently occupy. So when it comes to a long-term peace agreement, where the line of battle is frozen in place once the ceasefire begins and the peace occurs, that's going to determine a lot about Ukraine's economic future. It's unresolved right now. That's what most people are going to be keeping their eyes on, Fanchin.
Well, we know the White House was just moments ago talking about this. We're getting more information on the details. Peter, thank you for giving us your insight in this, because I think it helps the people at home watching understand why this was so pivotal as being the first deal that was the major one coming out of the administration. So we appreciate your insight as always.